I'm going to introduce first Mike Cook, who's going to be introducing our speaker. Vanu is handling the camera behind the scenes, and Mike Cook's going to be introducing our speaker for today. Mike, if you're with us, if you would make the introductions, and then we'll proceed.
I'm right here at the intersection of Chimney Rock and Westheimer, in front of a name that you should all recognize, Maida's. The Maida family got here in the early 1900s. They established, he was a shoemaker, they established this operation. And Jason Maida is the one you're going to meet today. He's the Rotarian in a downtown club. He's in the rodeo and a friend of mine, so come on in. Maida. And Jason is the owner of this store. And as a boy, what Jason did is he looked up, this is my favorite story about Jason, he looked up at his granddad and saw the granddad's silver and gold buckle, and he was enamored by that buckle, and so he got interested in being in the buckle business. And the other people that all of us would remember that wore a silver and gold buckle are here on the wall. Vanu can take a picture of it. Roy Rogers, Gene Autry, Avalon Cassidy, they're all the people that would have known and had one of these buckles. Anyway, Jason's a good friend of mine. He's a Rotarian. He's a life member of the rodeo, and well known in the city with his family. Goes to church every Sunday. Has a great family. So, Jason, tell us what you've got here. The largest collection of silver and gold buckles west of the Mississippi.
Thank you, Mike Cook, and thank you, Memorial Spring Branch Rotary, for coming to my store. My name is Jason Maida, and I own Maida's Belts and Buckles for 30 years. I started in 1990. I manufacture belts made of all leathers, exotic skins, calf, suedes, alligators, lizards, elephants, and I also manufacture belt buckles, Western belt buckles, dress belt buckles, suit and sport coat dress buckles. A buckle that y'all may be wearing, but is made of sterling or 14 karat gold. And we manufacture that on premises, not everything, because I'm always also a gallery. I'm a gallery of all the finest Western artists of the memorabilia of sterling silver from the movies that Mr. Cook said, Mike's told you about, Gene Autry and Roy Rogers. It's those photos up there that you're looking at. It's the belt buckles they're wearing that got me excited. Mike had said that I admired my grandfather's buckles. Well, my grandfather wore buckles, and why did he wear buckles? Well, let me get back to my history and why you're here, and leather in Houston in general. Houston Shoe Hospital. You may know that. It started in 1906 by my great-grandfather. We are Italian heritage immigrants at the end of the last century, 1900, 1905. We came from Sicily to Houston, started Houston Shoe Hospital. I'm a cobbler by trade. I'm actually fifth-generation shoemaker. Turned belt maker, because that's an easy jump off. My belts are fitted for you. I learned at an early age to fix all types of leather, stitch this, stitch that, by working next door to Houston Shoe Hospital. My father wanted me to start my business. He helped me. My parents gave me the money to start Maida's Belts and Buckles. And I had a rent paying my father. My father is Houston Shoe Hospital, so we are next door to them. We share 5,000 square feet at Chimney Rock at Westheimer. I have a big history. I'd like to show you those photos one day here, or here in a little bit, not right now. But as you come into my store, the history of the belt buckle and in Houston is important to me. So pan around and let's walk on in here and notice my belt wall. And I'll get back to being a Rotarian and being part of my community. I love community. I love donating to organizations that give back. I am a Rotarian. I belong to the Downtown Houston Rotary Club. Downtown Houston Rotary Club, we like to have fun, of course, like y'all do, doing everything. So I joined the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo as well. So the Downtown Rotary put me on the rodeo committee in charge of. And what we do to have fun is we give a scholarship, help with the scholarship for the rodeo by buying a steer for a young boy or girl who is going to. We help them purchase the food, the inoculations. We help that child get that and go through. I'm stuttering. Sorry, I'll get back on it. But giving back to the rodeo committee is what I enjoy doing because it's Houston. Houston is a philanthropic city, we all know. And as Rotarian, I enjoy doing that. It falls into my leather business. Obviously, I get to do a lot of rodeo events here at the store. The Western buckles, jumping back and forth, my sterling buckles are handmade, hand engraved. We put sterling initials on them, monograms, put inscriptions on the back. The buckles have a history of Texas as well. Think of Spain. We were here for because Spain conquered this land. The conquistadors came, had engraved swords on all of their armor, was engraved. So over the centuries, we've dropped the armor, but the buckle has kind of remained as a piece of art, reminiscent of that history of 400 years of Spain, becoming Mexico, becoming the Republic of Texas. And we enjoy as cowboys, if you will, and then we dress up in a suit or sport coat, but we still have that sterling money clip in our pocket that's engraved, the cufflinks that are engraved, a belt buckle that is engraved. And it's the history of Texas in general that when you come to my store and you look on the walls and you look around, you kind of have that feeling that I really appreciate the Western culture. As you look through here, Mr. Vanu, if you would take a picture of these cufflinks here. I use a lot of ancient coins and Spanish coins and American coins in our money clips. Money clips are meant to fit credit cards and cash now. It's not just about just cash. Get rid of the wallet, although I do make wallets out of alligator and lizard for you. I fit you through the belt. So you're going to come in, and if you get your clothing fitted and you're an in-between size, we don't just have size 38s or 34s on the rack. It's a 35, a 35 and a half. We can punch those holes specifically to you if you've had your pants altered or your shirts altered. So it's all handmade in that way. You can choose your color leathers. You can choose your skins, and that's this wall of belts that I've got. Each rack in my store is an example of 5 buckles made by an artist to show their work. If you admire something from one of these racks, I will show you more buckles or items that manufacturer makes.
So what about custom designs? Do you do custom designs as well?
Custom designs, fantastic question, thank you. Rectangles, ovals, large buckles, small buckles, yes. And custom designs can be your logo. I can put the little Rotary logo down on the corner of something with your initials, or we can do monogram style. I can put a Longhorn on it, a Bronc Rider on it, your ranch brand. So yes, custom is definitely part of the name of my business is custom belts. We can show you some of those as you come over here on top of the counter. I've got some belt buckles with initials on them, rubies for birthstones of July, gold, silver, letters cut out by hand in script styles. Okay. Ostrich skins, all the skins that I use, the elephants and the ostriches and the caiman crocodiles, all of this is legally harvested skins turned into leather that we make. So you have to be fitted to a belt and a buckle as a match. So when you come into my store, I want you to come in and give me 30 minutes. You can tell I talk a lot, so give me 30 minutes. Let's fit you, give me almost an hour, and you can design and sketch something yourself, and we can select skins of colors that you don't even see on these good-looking browns that we have here. As we move on through, well, what do we got? We got Jenny Carter Breed. If y'all know this gentleman here, he's a big spring branch friend.
I've got a question for you.
Tell me what you got. Thank you for
So
keeping me on track.
you got a great selection.
Yes, sir.
And can you match me up if I've got some alligator boots? I know you've got alligator belt. Can you help match me up to those go together? That's one of the questions. The other is, so I've got some Ranger Star cufflinks, but I don't have a belt. And I know y'all do that. Can you match whatever? If I had something else, can you match that and make that?
Great question. Thank you very much for keeping on track. Yes, I'll match those boot, any type of boot. I want to see when y'all come in, take a picture of the closet, your closet on the ground of all your shoes, so that I can see the colors of brown shades you like, or help you figure out what colors you need. We'll match those boots or shoes, dress shoes for a belt, 100%. Buckles. That other question you had was
Match basically
Match.
some cufflinks to a buckle.
right. So if you have a star on your cufflinks, yes, I could do that same star, and I could put that onto a belt buckle. Of course. Yes. Yes.
This is one of yours.
We made that for you a few years ago. That's a saw-pierced buckle. That's one of the hardest buckles to manufacture. You spent real well on that. All right. I've got some more stuff over here. This is Miss Jacinda.
Hi. Don't you love it when friends just stop by?
I've got it on group. So,
Well, I'm curious. I heard that you have a lot of featured artists that are women, and that you actually help them. Some of them single, some of them you help in their country. Tell me more about what you have here and how I can get from being a memorial mom, running carpool, to a fundraiser function at Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. How can I help other women in other countries and still contribute here in our community?
all right. Well, you mentioned other countries, and that I like to stay local and have a lot of local American stuff. In this case, this is a Navajo made by a woman Navajo named Geraldine, and this is a sterling silver and turquoise mined in America. This American Nevada turquoise hand stamp. So we buy directly from Navajos, definitely. In Santa Fe, New Mexico, they bead these bracelets. It's a hand beaded with sterling silver, and that, let's have your arm there. That's a nice little bracelet right there.
That's super light. And that would take me from every day to,
I don't want to pinch it.
yeah, this is nice.
In Houston, we have a lady that makes these by hand. This is Maida Cuccia. And this horn is from the Ankali species of African cattle. And I'm making belt buckles out of them, napkin rings, vases, and notice I'm putting your initials on them or your ranch brand. The proceeds of me buying this go to African women in Ghana who manufacture this stuff, send it to me, and then I do my embellishment. I'm putting all my initials on the thing. So yes, we do have women as well as men artists. Yeah, put that on.
What else do we have here?
Put that on.
Oh, I love it. It fits.
See that?
I need to fix it.
And that we'll get to there. Let's keep walking. So as you come through this case right here, I spoke a little bit about my history of being with Houston Shoe Hospital all my life. And this case is all vintage. Everything in it is up to 100 years old. And when I first started, when I was 19, I was going to antique stores in the Houston area, buying just the buckles. Remember, these are the buckles that I thought those silver screen heroes of mine were wearing on their gun belts and their saddles. So I was purchasing all of this. And so I have one showcase in the store that is always dedicated to when I got started 30 years ago with just buying the antique and the vintage buckles.
Oh, look at these from St. Thomas, St. Michael, all your local schools.
Right. So I am Roman Catholic, and I went to St. Teresa, St. Michael, and St. Thomas. So I make the belt buckles out of brass for the kids there. Those are buckles that I got out of the archives at especially St. Thomas here. So that is a reproduction of a 90-year-old buckle that was at St. Thomas that we brought back. It's a good seller.
I love it. It gives back to the community so much.
We do get proceeds back. $10 per buckle goes back to the school. More leathers around hanging. See these alligators here?
So I don't have to go hunt my own. I can just come in and hunt this one. Pick the color.
That's
my
right.
choice.
That's right. These are how the alligators are given to me. I buy them from the tannery. I don't color them myself, but we chop these up for belts and wallets.
This is soft, and this one is more. Wow. I mean, I can see the difference when one would be a wallet, one would be a belt.
Right. And they tan those at the tannery, soft for clothing or more durable and hard for belts. Then if we walk in the back here and show some of my workshop. Come on back. Again, to show you that we do manufacture here in the store and service our belts and buckles. So even if you don't buy a buckle or belt from me, come in so that we can condition it, shine it, use my services. These are tools that I've collected for 30 years. Some of them are over 100 years old and belong to my great-grandfather and grandfather. We still use them today. A lot of handwork, sewing machines. All right, I'll get on back out here. So as we get around here, I, as being a historian of Texas, collect Republic of Texas currency. That's what's on the wall here. Those are genuine 175-year-old notes. The $1 bill, the $500 bill, clearly with Mirabeau Lamar's signature on them, President of the Republic of Texas. We sell them unframed and framed, and I have other cool documents with signatures of Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin. We're also in the section of the store that I call the Bolin section. Bolin was the most famous buckle maker in the Western tradition. He was in Hollywood, California, and he is the one that did most of the buckles on Gene Autry and Roy Rogers and John Wayne's gear. So we sell them exclusively in Houston, and I have a lot of their product on the wall. The finest.
What are those
Yes.
maps that we just passed?
Maps. These are framed genuine maps of the 1870s, 1860s of Texas. Part of the history section, part of the history collection. It's not just about belts and buckles, but history of Texas in general.
Okay, I went.
There we go. She's dressed up.
I'm ready to go to the next fundraiser.
So she loaded up on turquoise and sterling silver, Navajo, Hopi, and Zuni jewelry made in New Mexico. It's important for me to buy turquoise mined in America, so that is all turquoise. I make sure it's from Arizona, Nevada, or New Mexico.
I love it. It's super comfortable.
That's
But
right.
I just transformed the same outfit and I'm ready to go.
And a point of fact in history of this piece, this is called a naja. The Navajos call that a naja. But this whole technique, if you're a horse rider, you'll know that that kind of resembles, sorry, you're not a horse, but a breast collar of a horse. The Navajos took that Spanish emblem that was on those horses, that those conquistadors, that was right on there, the breast collar of that horse, and that became a traditional squash blossom necklace design. Can't make that up, that's true.
But it looks like a horseshoe too.
That's right.
Squash blossom, does it mean something if a woman wore a squash blossom?
It's in their culture to wear those in their dress, and men wore them as well. It was not just a feminine deal. The men of the nation wear that. This is a section of the store where I have all of my turquoise, 3 showcases filled. The wall units above are my cufflinks. So a lot of Texas history cufflinks. And behind there, maybe in the camera, you see a lot of extra leather. There's leather all around the shop of suedes and elephants and alligators and caimans, different colors of Nile crocodile, shark even. So you can pick out your own colors.
Do you have something, like say I came shopping and my husband wasn't around, but I came shopping for my birthday, maybe for Christmas, and I just had like a little wish list. Do you have something like that that I can tell you, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and then when he comes in, he goes, hey, this is what your wife is looking for.
You're talking about keeping a record under your
Yeah.
name, and of course I have a point of sale that'll do that.
I like that.
So as the women in the group go in secret and take a picture of your husband's shoes, like I said earlier, all of his belts and his cufflinks, and even his pocket knives. I sell fine pocket knives, so that I have at least an idea that we can write down of things that he collects. Same thing for you men. You need to go find out the ring size of your wife. You need to find out what size necklaces she has. Take a picture of those necklaces. Take a picture of that jewelry, her shoes, her boots. Then come in. I need some help. I'm not going to come to your house unless you want me to, and go through the closet and look in to try to help you shop. So y'all take those photographs, show me. We'll make a list, keep it under y'all's name, and you can start developing like that. I can keep track of what cufflinks you buy him so that you don't get the same pair every month.
Well, I like
Good
that.
question.
Yeah, thank you. Because it is so difficult in this day and age to separate yourself from just what's mainstream. Everything here is so custom. And that's what I love. And I love the heirloom part. I know when my first child was born, my best friend, Mike Cook, he bought each child a belt buckle. It's an heirloom piece. And as they're growing, I come back as they grow and get a different size belt. But they're going to wear that forever. They'll have that on their wedding day. They'll have that maybe to give to their grandchildren. But just like you said with the antique, the collecting part of it is there, but it's still classic. And it's the size as a businessman's the ratio to a businessman on his belt buckle. It's not a big trophy. So that was pretty neat. It has all his initials on it.
Well, to toot my horn about collecting antiques and collecting Western memorabilia, I've done it for so long that people actually come to me from around the country just to ask me questions about something that they have for me to appraise it. And the questions are, is this genuine turquoise, or who's this maker's mark on the back? And I have been able to, I'm that guy. I actually have thousands of buckles in my collection that I was just collecting the maker's mark so that I can learn their designs. So as I showed you on the other side of the store, all the different artists that I carry, I have in manufacture my own buckles that are kind of like a hodgepodge, a little bit of my favorite manufacturers of everybody emulating some of those designs. And as I said, those designs could be 400 years old, from Spanish. We can't forget the English engraved guns, the Italians engraved guns, the French laid claim to Texas. They had engravings. So Texas engraving kind of is a formulation of all of those historical engraving patterns that Europe brought to Texas.
So do you have
Heirloom.
your one special piece that's not ever going to be sold? I know you're in the business of trading belts and buckles, but do you have those pieces that those are yours? Those are
I
foundational.
do, and I wish I could show them there at home, because everything in the store is for sale here. So what kind of a salesman would I be if I said that this particular piece is my favorite, it's the best in the world, but it's not for sale? So I don't want to antagonize you. I bring it away. It's at home in my personal collection, but everything is still fine stuff here, just it's all for sale.
I think that's great, because that's part of that heirloom. You know, you have a son and a daughter, and you have heirloom pieces that you're going to hand down. I think that's wonderful.
Well, you feel good. You know, if you're that person that gets the finest shoe you can find, and you buy the finest silk tie, or your lady, you buy the finest scarf, or the finest handbag and the finest shoes, you're already doing that. Well, men, why did you just go grab a belt off the rack and buy it for $50, but you spent $1,000 on the jacket? Keep going. Make a fine $100 belt out of French cap. Put a $400 sterling silver buckle on it. And the great thing about it is that 10 years from now, when you can't fit in the belt anymore, it goes to Goodwill, but keep that buckle. That sterling buckle goes to the next belt. I can keep doing that. That's why it's heirloom. And then kids will fight over who gets dad and mom's buckle.
But what you've done for me one time, and I really appreciate it, I have a cordovan and a black and a brown, and he gave me, had me purchase a keeper for each of those. And I can switch my belt buckles between them, but I don't have to switch the keeper. So
Right.
that's a set.
Right.
Appreciate that. Well, I'm so glad I came in today, and I love that when I come in, I see another friend in the community that helps. Jay Carter Reed with Jay Carter Reed Properties. He's a Rotarian. Mike Cook, he's a Rotarian. Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. He's at UVS right now. And then Jason. I mean, it's great. It's like coming back to family coming here. Thank you.
Thanks, Jacinta, for dressing up.
Sure, I love it.
You look great. Either buy it or take it off. Okay. All right. So, how are we on time, y'all?
Yeah, you got time for a few questions, maybe?
Okay.
All right. Okay, Bill, if you want to start Q&A.
Okay, do we have any questions? Well, let me start off with one. Have you ever had occasion to do a rotary belt buckle?
Thank you. When I became a Rotarian a couple of years, 3 years ago, I gave my 2 sponsors a money clip with the Rotarian logo on the bottom. It's about the size of a fingernail, and it actually is a international logo that's about 70 years old. The actual steel die presses out that as a lapel pin in gold or silver. Well, I took that in silver and put it onto a money clip. They loved them. So that's as far as I've gone at the moment, but I'd love to talk about that. And we can manufacture those in high sterlings and golds, high quality, or we can do them in great quality brass and bronze and sell to the clubs or individuals. Yeah, great question. Yes, sir.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? I'm sure that.
Yeah, I've got a comment. Just see, I've been a customer of Jason's for
Who are you?
3 decades now, as long as you've been open, and very special to me because Jason has helped me when my dad was passing away. He helped me make a belt buckle set for his Texas Cowboys.
Cornell.
Yeah.
Chaps. He also he had some gold and metal, and he was custom using this specific metal I wanted in the commemorative buckle for my dad, as well as countless other projects of cuff links and things also made out of that metal. So Jason's ability to both match colors on the last project was a very unique matching of a color of the antique alligator. So he really can work with you, even if you want it down to the specific metal you want melted down to use into it, to some incredibly unique and custom pieces that have been very sentimental to me and will be with our family and passed down. And that I've got a safe behind me and downstairs, and I have I'm a little bit of a collector. So and Jason and I go a long way back. What you also didn't show back there was I've got my Comstock compacts, cigar tubes, shot glasses, and other precious and semi-precious metal devices. I mean, so there's quite a bit more to the store than you've even seen here.
David, thank you. That was a fun project because that really is silversmithing 101, where you got to take the old heirlooms of Dad's, melt them down, and I had to make them into other things and put on that buckle. That's really, thank you, David. That's what I wanted to try to express, and maybe you've gotten a little nervous trying to make it around my store in a normal amount of time without saying everything. But thank you for mentioning that. Yeah.
That was a very enlightening trip around the store. And I have to tell you that anybody that is a Texas history buff would enjoy coming in and browsing through your store. I have, Mark, you have a question?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Hi, wonderful. Just a great presentation. I happen to live right up the street from you guys and been to the shoe hospital a couple of times and gone through your store. I wanted to know, do you have a sense of what percentage of your sales might be online? Do you guys have a website? Things like that.
Thank you very much for mentioning that. Yes, of course I should mention that my website is there. I don't have everything on it, so it is good that you're local and you can come and visit. You will be able to check out my website at maidasbelts.com. Put an S on everything, maidasbelts.com. And the percentage of sales it's not my second store yet. I really want it to be. So in percentage, I need to look into that. It's low. I could do a much better job on that, but it was what was keeping me going through this COVID. I tell you, it was great. I did not close at all. The close sign was up, but I was in here every day with a different employee, moving around the store, keeping up, calling customers. And it was the UPS, FedEx, and mail service that I enjoyed. I enjoyed waiting in line, going to FedEx and dropping stuff off during that time period. And that was paying rent. It was wonderful. Thanks for asking.
Okay. Any other questions? I do have one question. We have, and this is for my Aggies versus Longhorns. You get more requests for Longhorn belts or Aggie belts?
You know, that is, it wears me out, okay? What happens is the Texas Longhorn figure that I use is one of the oldest figures used on buckles for 100 years. But I can't, in Texas, I can't use it for everybody. You wouldn't believe all the UT people that kill that for the Aggies, obviously. Aggies like to see that Longhorn on the side of the road, but they're not going to wear a buckle with it on there. So they admire it when it's in the store, made into something. But yeah, the Aggies will not buy a Longhorn from me. But I have made several where I take the Longhorn's horns, cut them off, and solder them sawed off, right? So I can do it if you'll do that. I've done that before. That's funny. Back to silver and gold too. I forgot to mention it's up, 20%. My prices of my buckles have had to go up 20% to match the increase of gold and silver. That gold is $1,900 right now, and most of my buckles in here, y'all need to come in now. I haven't changed the prices. It was based on when gold was $1,400. So, yeah.
Wow. Gwen, do you have a question?
Jason, about 10 years ago, I bought a turquoise piece on the, there in the square in Santa Fe from the lady sitting on her blanket on the ground.
Yes, ma'am.
And I just wonder if I brought that in, could you take a see? I don't know that there's a maker's mark on there, but every time I wear it, I get fabulous compliments. It's very unusual.
Well, yes, ma'am.
I'd like to know the value of it too.
Well, being that you bought that on the square, you have to be 100% Indian to have a space on that square, as you know, if you didn't know, that's one of the rules. So those spaces on those rugs are generational given. They don't give them up. So to be there, they're definitely not, they're going to be reputable Indians manufacturing that. So feel good that you got a great Navajo piece, obviously, and a good experience. The value of it is going to depend on the stamping work, the mine the turquoise came from, and that maker's mark. That maker's mark on the back should be there if it was made in modern times. If it was made before 1975, it probably doesn't have a mark on it, and that doesn't mean it's bad. It's just that for 100 years prior to 1975, up to that time period, the Navajos, they didn't need to market sterling. They wore it in their ceremonial outfits, but when they started selling to Anglos coming on Route 66, the galleries that sell their stuff started saying, hey, you got to stamp this with sterling, you got to stamp this with your name, because Europeans are buying it. So we need, and Americans, we need to market. So I can't wait to see it. You're welcome to come in, please.
Great, thanks.
Okay. Well, Justin, thank you so much for all of your time and absolutely incredible presentation. And hopefully we can do this again in the future, and everybody can get by your store. Mike, good to see you.
Here's the flag that Jason's giving us, and we need to get a flag for him because he wants this as a makeup.
Per tradition, I want to hang our flag. I want to start collecting flags. So I give you, the Downtown Rotary of Houston gives this to Memorial Spring Branch.
We will be happy to do that.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. Wonderful cover, Mike.